Operating within a customer service environment means there will always be times when a difficult conversation has to be had with a prospect or customer, or maybe even a colleague. One of the 4 most common difficult conversations we'll have, and we'll look at all 4 scenarios over the next few modules, is having to deliver a bit of bad news to a customer or prospect. For example, telling a customer that we can't action their request immediately because they've rung in past the cut-off time, or advising a customer that we can't change their payment date until the next due date, which is a month away, or letting a customer know that they can't start their agreement with us until the 1st of next month. When you face these difficult scenarios, it's completely natural to focus on the negative first, to talk about what you can't do before, or rather than talking about what you can do. And this creates an unnecessary negative reaction or negative impact on the other person. Because you see, we all have these 2 constantly playing tapes in our brain, and dependent on whether we're being told something positive, in other words some good news, or we're being told something negative, in other words some bad news, will depend on which tape is set to play first. So the trick is to start the positive tape, the good news tape, the can-do tape playing first, so that when you deliver that bit of bad news, it gets delivered onto the positive tape, lessening the negative impact so that the bad news lands more positively. Simple. Well, here's why. Let's imagine for a moment that I'm a smoker, despite being a reformed non-smoker for many, many years now. And I pop into my local Sainsbury's and ask at the kiosk for 20 Silk Cut Mauve, which is the brand I used to smoke. And the shop assistant starts her response with, "I'm ever so sorry, unfortunately, I'm afraid to tell you that. We kind of know what's coming next, don't we? Some bad news. They haven't got my brand in stock." Yet although the assistant in the kiosk did start her response with some bad news, thus starting my negative tape to set play first, she did in fact go on to give me a little bit of good news, which was that she'd be happy to give me 2 10s for the same price of a packet of 20. Not ideal, but certainly better than no cigarettes at all if you're a smoker, or having to try a different brand for a day, that's for sure. Yet sadly, that little bit of good news got delivered onto my negative or bad news tape, because that was the one that was rolling at the time. What did that do to the good news? Well, it diluted it at best, and it perhaps even negated it altogether at worst. So we use the tape technique, a clever little 1%er that uses reverse psychology to deliver a negative message or a bit of bad news by setting our customers' positive tape to play first whenever we've got a little bit of bad news to deliver. So in my cigarette scenario, had that shop assistant been through this module and learned the power of the tape technique, her response may have sounded something like this. "I can certainly give you 2 packets of 10s of Silk Cut Mauve for the same price of a packet of 20. However, the delivery van hasn't turned up today, so I don't have any 20s in stock. Is that okay with you?" Notice how different that response sounds using the tape technique to deliver that negative message, because the positive tape was set to play first. So when the bad news got delivered, it got delivered onto my positive tape. What did that do to the bad news? Well, it diluted it. It doesn't make it go away. We still have to tell the customer that we can't do what they're asking, but the bad news lands much more palatably to the ear than if we were to set that negative tape roll in first, like this. "I'm ever so sorry, we don't have any 20s in stock as the delivery van hasn't turned up today, but I can give you 2 packets of 10 for the same price if you'd like." Make sense? It's such a brilliant little technique that works as well in life as it does in business. Here's how. If you have a child and your child asks if their little friend Johnny can come to tea tomorrow when you're on a late and won't even be home to cook your own son's tea, then you can deliver that bit of bad news to your son in a way that keeps their mood high and your guilt low using the tape technique. Here's how. "Yes, of course Johnny can come to tea, and maybe you can even have a sleepover, but we'll have to do it on Friday as Mummy's at work until 8 p.m. tomorrow. Is that all right with you?" So now it's your turn to give this fantastic little 1%er a go. Take a look at the examples in your workbook and use the tape technique to ensure those negative messages land more positively with your customer. Do you have any other scenarios specific to your environment where the tape technique can be used to deliver some bad news or a negative message? If so, use the blank space in your workbook to create a response that you can refer to if and when you face a difficult conversation like that with your customers or prospects in the future. See you on the next module when we'll look at the second example of a difficult conversation we may need to have, where we need to tell a customer there is no good news at all. Happy taping, and in the meantime, keep fit.